Well, good morning. It's Bobby Lee and
Camber.
here from Hurricane Creek Farms. Even got the Hurricane Creek Farm shirt on today. But a beautiful Sunday morning. It's gonna get hot. It was hot yesterday. Yesterday may have been our first day officially in the 80s, and whew, even when you see it coming on the forecast, it kind of catches you off your yard. You're like, oh man, it is hot. But got a bunch of things to get done today. Some of it may be a little controversial or risky. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. We can get these bulls fed, and this mama that has not been tending to her baby as well as we want. She is still being kind of a bad mother. You can see she's kind of fighting him. Yeah, there she goes. Not being just terribly combative, but what I found over the last few days, we usually give them just a little feed in the morning. She's down here at the bunk eating. She'll let him nurse. This was yesterday afternoon, wasn't it, Kimber? We got back home, had a softball tournament. We got home early and just got her just standing, you know, where he could try to nurse, and she would not let him. So I had to run her in the chute again last night. But you're disappointing me, Mom. Your one job in life is to successfully raise baby calves, and yeah, she's kind of fighting that, but she's doing. I think she's getting a little better every day. Too, as he just gets older, which I have to look at my notes. He's probably a week old now. Yeah, as he gets older and stronger, he'll be more aggressive with his nursing, and you know, if she's just kind of halfway trying to kick him off, he'll just push right through it, or he'll figure out ways to kind of stay out of her line of fire and still get to eat. Smokey, I don't think you're supposed to be in here in the feed room. Hey, that's horse feed. Come on, here, dump that in the bucket. Go on, baby. Come on, baby. Smokey, get out of her way. Smokey, get back.
I can't.
Can't put the safety. Snap on over here, you hold the camera. There we go. Just for added security, she gets quite aggressive. Me. So my helper abandoned me after about 15 minutes. Finding good help these days, just about impossible. Nah, she wants to get back in the house. I don't know what. They might ride horses later on. It is going to be a beautiful day. We're gonna go check on the other herd, check and see how them bulls are doing. Right, Sadie? Well, down here on the Gilt Edge farm to check on these heifers and our two new bulls. I guess one is our bull, one is ours, just for the breeding season, leasing him. Yeah, these animals can't figure out my pattern, and I know I say that all the time because generally when I'm recording, it's on a weekend or my day off, and I'm down here at odd times. Because like yesterday morning, we were down here well before daylight because we were headed out of town to a softball tournament. Didn't know that we'd be back home before dark. I don't know. Maybe ride around and look for them, go ahead and put some feed out, that sort of thing. Try to get a head count. Yesterday morning, just in the headlights, I could get a pretty good idea that looked like most of them were here, you know, or just about all of them, but I couldn't get a 100% accurate count. So yeah, we'll see if we can find them. And of course, no sooner than we got headed off to look for them, there they come. So we'll back up here to the feed bunks, count them as they come up. Of course, these first three right here, some of our homegrown heifers, obviously, not the Angus heifers we just bought. But I really like those three gals. We'll, yeah, I hope to keep those as cows in our own herd. Unless somebody just really wants them when we get ready to sell these others, but I better quit talking and start counting. And there's both the bulls and a few more. But I think, I keep reminding myself there's 62 now. We had that nice even 60 before we added the bulls. That's 53. Need to find 9 more. Here I am trying to be all cool, riding around, hanging with my arm hanging out the window, and yeah. One of the reasons you don't do that in the pasture. And I got over here to the mineral feeder and I look back and looky there. And kind of as I suspected, it's kind of real springy up here through this little bit of timber. and stays wet. There's some spots they kind of like to lounge around. It's just cool in there. So not surprised that's where they were. Let's hope there's 9 of them. And there's only 8. So either we're still missing somebody or I miscounted the big bunch as they came up. Number 11 heifer there must be in heat, which is good. Should see lots of heifers in heat, but that number should be dwindling. A month from now, we better not be. These boys are getting the job done. Yes, now she's got another heifer trying to ride her. But yeah, we'll see if we can get a head count, see if I possibly miscounted one over here. And we'll therefore be able to account for everyone. And I can't count them. I feel pretty certain I missed one earlier because I've counted and I'm getting the right number sometimes, not sometimes. But there's in a wad, they won't spread out. And I'll start counting, they'll get to moving all around. Anyway, not too worried about it. We gotta get back home and get some other things done. What I alluded to earlier when I said we had something maybe controversial and really risky is the better word for it, is the question for the day is to cut hay or not to cut hay. That is the question. And basically what the question is how confident are we it's not gonna rain in the next 3 or 4 days? And yeah, I don't know. Keep checking the forecast, they keep updating it. The rain chances seem to be dwindling. Now we're down like that. The best rain chance in that window, I think, is around 40% now. We had good weather overnight. The sun's shining and wind blew. There's no dew, so we could start cutting right now, even though it's not even 10 a.m. I don't know. I think we're gonna go for it. I've reached out to 2 different buddies. One, my cousin Logan, just because we were talking on the podcast the night. It's gonna rain for the next 2 weeks. And that was like 4 or 5 days ago. And it's rained like 2/10 since then. We were supposed to get massive amounts of rain, potentially. And then the rain going forward seems to be dwindling, which is a bit concerning because we certainly don't want it to get into a drought, but if we're gonna cut some hay, we also don't want it to get wet. So we'd be fine with this raining after we got it up. So the other was my brother, and he was like, oh yeah, man, cut it. He's like, I need some rain. He said, so I want you to cut some hay. So easy for them to both tell me to go for it because they're not gonna be the ones with wet hay on the ground. But whether it's peer pressure or just me chomping at the bit to finally get some hay on the ground, I think we're gonna go for it. As we pull in here to this first little field, you can see ryegrass is putting out a seed head. And so, you know, ideally it should have been cut 10 days or so ago. But that factors into our decision making a little. It is not just super thick. We got some clover down there. Yeah, with each passing day, we're losing some quality on this first cutting. Hopefully haven't lost too much so far. And so yeah, that certainly weighs into our decision making to some extent as well. Doesn't mean we want to just cut it and let it get wet, but yeah, we're gonna roll the dice. Made 2 rounds and I can already tell I underestimated how thick and how good this hay was, which of course I should have known. I didn't, you know, just what was right there by the road wasn't quite as thick, but out here when you get in it, it's proverbial thicker than hair on a dog's back, which is good. It's gonna make more hay, but it's also gonna make it a little more of a challenge to get dry. I'm already anticipating we're probably gonna need to run a tedder through it. I mean, that's a good idea anyway, but just because I don't oftentimes have the time to do it, and two, you know, we're rolling this off for cow hay, we don't worry about it a lot of times, but we're gonna have to probably do that if there's any chance of us getting it baled on Wednesday. And I gotta get it rolled on Wednesday, otherwise I have to sit till Saturday, and the odds of it not raining that period of time are that much lower. And this hay is just a whole lot thicker than I'd even imagined. So yeah, getting it dry is gonna be the next concern. Not getting it rained on and getting dry. Just ran into an issue you always worry about this time of year in hay fields. It's turkey nest. Hen flew off. You can see eggs right there. I kind of took some up vine. It got caught on the tractor and laid it over. I'm gonna mow around it. I'm gonna leave it. Not get any closer to it really than I already have. Hopefully she'll come back and still sit on it. You know, no harm, no foul kind of thing, but always something you worry about this time of year. That and then fawns, baby deer. Probably a little early for fawns right now, but getting close. But yeah, turkey nests hate that. But thankfully we didn't just run right through it. Sometimes they won't get off the nest, and yeah, you ruin the nest, kill mom, everything all in the process. So thankfully we didn't do that. She got out of there. We know where it is. We'll stay away from it. All right, back home. We're not done, but no, we're not broken down. You can see getting a little low on fuel. Wasn't sure. I thought we might could make it. We're about 2/3 of the way done, but I'm not gonna risk it. Don't want to run her out of fuel, of course. It's one of those things, kind of like in your pickup truck or your car. Once you get down to about a quarter tank, you're probably really even less than that. It drops precipitously. So, gotta throw the fuel tank on the back of the farm truck, just because we've had it off all winter. You know, use it for feeding hay. Put it on there real quickly, then run get some fuel and finish up. Getting over here to get a little fuel. Logan has got his truck and seed tender. Looks like he's getting ready to plant some soybeans. So he barely left me enough room to get fueled up. But of course, he didn't know I was going to be coming over here to get fuel today. I didn't know I was going to be coming over here to get fuel today, so I really didn't expect we were going to be cutting hay. But actually, as I checked the forecast again, the rain chances have continued to go down, which is a good thing. So we don't want it to rain, not till we get that hay up. But it also, like the cynical side of me is like, yeah, the rain chance is going to keep going down, and then it's still going to rain, you know, like 2 inches, you know, just because that's the way it works a lot of times. But get some fuel and get done cutting. And mainly just because I've been so busy, you know, around our place doing things, I've yet to be over here at least filming and show you what happened here. And where's the roof on the barn? Oh, yeah. But that was fortunately kind of the extent of the damage they had here. I don't think they even really had that many trees down, but it absolutely just sucked the roof right up off the top, and yeah, laid it right there. So I remember barely before they had a roof covering that working facility, and now they once again don't have one. But anyway, yeah, just thought I'd show you all that while I was over here before we get back home. And that's a wrap on our cutting for today. It's the last field. This is the smallest field, but as you can see, a lot of clover in here, all that rye. It's gonna be a good bit more hay than I kind of anticipated. I'm trying to think. Last year's first year we had this farm, we cut it 3 times. The last cutting was really disappointing. Didn't get much at all off of it. I think the first cutting last year, which we were laid, it wasn't fertilized quite as well. We hadn't overseeded any rye in, although there was a lot of rye just naturally. I think we had like 32 rolls, something like that. I had to look back at our notes. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's gonna be over 40 rolls. It may be even closer to 50. But good hay. And I think, you know, for the most part, that rye was starting to head out in places, but for the most part, I think we probably caught it before it really got, you know, far too mature. Perfect world, we'd have probably cut it a week ago. But anyway, we got it done. Now we just need the sun to keep shining, rain to hold off, and it get dry. All right, back over here at my dad and my uncle's place to hook up to the tedder. We won't tedder that hay till tomorrow evening. no point at this time. You need to let it dry a good bit. Then you kind of turn it over, stir it around so you can get the rest of it dry. But I have that ready to go because I probably will do it after I get home from work tomorrow evening. And you'll see they also have another tedder, a little older tedder. This was not quite as convenient to use, but kind I really have used far more than the new fancy hydraulic ones. That one actually needs a new slip clutch, but as I was just talking to my dad, telling him I needed to borrow one, said what we probably ought to do, go ahead and replace that for them. They don't use two. I mean, there's never a situation where they would be running two tedders, so we may be able to kind of keep that one around at our place to use it whenever we need it, so we're not having to always run up here and borrow their new one. But we'll tell you, I used this one time last year, only time I've ever run it. My gosh, growing up using the manual fold and whatnot, the hydraulic it's incredible. But anyway, when you get the opportunity to use one, essentially for free, you're not going to pass it up, whether it's the new kind or the old kind. But get it hooked up, get back home. Yeah, that is very nice. For those of you that aren't familiar with the manual folds, I mean literally as it sounds, like you just literally get out there on the end and using the old muscle power, do it by hand. Not terribly difficult. It's got kind of spring assist, but the other thing with this, you don't have to get off the tractor. And like I was just mentioning with when we were mowing, there's 5 different fields that we just mowed that will be teddering tomorrow. That's not incredibly inconvenient, but it's a bit whenever you're having it on and off, on and off, on and off. So be able to do it just like this. And then you just have to pull on this to release those little hooks and let it right back down. But first time I've ever had to grease this thing, because the one time I ran it last year, my dad actually started running it that day and I just took over for him after I got off work. But I believe we hit all spots. Yeah, the pneumatic grease gun is nice. Of course, we want to check our oil before we do anything. We're going to see if the old 40-30 will start. Oh yeah, we're in good shape. And at least get hooked up to the rake. Probably not gonna really have much time to do any maintenance, but just at least make sure we're good up to that point. She's usually all reliable when it comes to starting. There we go. All right. 2, I kind of had an inkling towards the end of last year that the air conditioning may be struggling on this thing. I'll run it for long enough just to see. I mean, if it is, it just is what it is. We'll have to get it fixed. It's blowing cold there at first. Whew, and it is hot. Like I'm not acclimated to these warmer temperatures yet. Okay, rake's hooked up. Everything's working just like it was when we parked it last fall. Tires are up, so we're in pretty good shape. We really need some rake teeth. Something I probably should have gotten ordered before, it was like 3 days before we were gonna use it. But I'm gonna go to agzaga.com and see if I can order some of those. I'd be surprised if they didn't have them. We know they have the neck wrap. Looks like, yeah, weather permitting, we'll get to show that off in the next video. But of course, if I do go to agzaga.com, I'm going to use that discount code HCF10 because I'm gonna get my 10% off. But anyway, air conditioner was working good on the tractor. Yeah, I mean, still gotta get the baler hooked up, which of course we're not gonna do that till after we get done using the tedder. I mean, things have gone pretty well today. We do still need to check the cows here at home. It's hot, it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They're probably gonna be laid up in the shade, but we're gonna ride them back here and take a look at them. Hey there, babies. Come on, let's rotate pastures. And we've still got 2 to check on that as of about 6:30 last night had not calved. It's my first time putting eyes on them today, so we'll see. Hereford cow has been looking like she's getting close, but could be any time. Black white faced heifer. Looks like she still may be a little ways, but we'll see. Hereford cow relieving herself right there's one we thought was going to be the next one to calve, and probably will be, just because the heifer doesn't look really that close either. But anyway, we'll move them on into this pasture. Okay, so got them all moved out here. That's a beautiful picture right there. You know, it'd be a little more beautiful if our fescue hadn't headed out. We didn't have all that buttercup mixed in there, but hey, you can't have it all, right? But as you can probably tell, wind is really blowing. Hope it's not creating much noise interference, but should be really good on that hay to dry. Hope it doesn't mean that a thunderstorm is blowing up, which, let me grab my phone. They actually had dropped the rain chances from like 40-some% chance down into the 30s. I keep checking it. I'm going to wear out my weather app, continually checking it like this. But so we got possible thunderstorms tonight, but it's, let's see, actually, I don't know, let me see this update. All right, the daily, well, now they've increased it for tonight to 51%. So 24 tomorrow, 41 on Tuesday, 24 on Wednesday. So yeah, and then 30s and 40s and up to over about 60% in the next weekend. But we don't want to pray off all rain, but if it will not rain for the next few days, wait until Wednesday night or into Thursday, we will be happy. We'll get that hay baled. And my plan is to tedder it tomorrow. You know, again, it's all gonna be weather permitting. It always is. But had a productive day. It's about 4:15. We get in the house, spend a little time with the family, and get things ready. Start a new work week tomorrow. But we appreciate y'all watching. I already mentioned agzaga.com, that discount code HCF10. Again, of course, always you can go to hurricanecreek.farm, get you one of our caps. We appreciate y'all watching. Check back with us next time. I hope we're in the hay field getting some hay baled. Appreciate y'all watching. Eat beef and God bless.